Okay, everyone. Welcome to the first writtenchinese.com workshop. And my name is Holly, and I work for writtenchinese.com. Today we've invited Chinese with Mike to join us because this is a pretty big deal for us. And we love Mike's stuff, like his teaching methods, and I think he's a bit of a fan of us as well. Um, so I'd like to tell everyone a little bit about the writtenchinese.com philosophy, I guess. And we are Written Chinese, and our main philosophy is that we feel written Chinese and spoken Chinese should be taught in some way together. And the reason for this is because we're actually in Shenzhen at the moment, and Mike, you're in Chicago, right? And so we think that one of the best ways to learn Chinese is to learn both written and spoken Chinese at the same time. So now I'd like to introduce Chinese with Mike a little bit. And you've been working hard at the moment, right? You've just finished your second book. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks, Holly. Hello, everybody. I'm about to finish my second volume of Chinese with Mike, which is the second textbook that goes along with some of my YouTube videos that were eventually compiled and published with the textbook. So that'll be done hopefully within a week, and then I can sleep for at least 2 hours a day.
So can you tell us a little bit about how and why you started teaching Chinese?
Well, I actually majored in English literature in college and at the University of Illinois, and I really was delivering pizzas and doing odd jobs like that for a while. And so a friend of mine in Taiwan invited me over and said, "Why don't you try your hand at teaching English over here? A lot of foreigners do it. It's decent money. It's a good time." And I said, "Sure, why not?" So I quit my job. I went over to Taiwan and I set up labs teaching children and adults English, and then I tried to pick up Chinese at the same time instead of just smiling and pointing at things. So that's how I got started.
Great. So I guess one of the first, maybe one of the first questions is, if someone wants to start to learn Chinese, where do you think that where should they start?
So I think it's important to start with the Pinyin alphabet, which is using the Latin alphabet to write Chinese characters. I think that's a good starting point because, again, my little presentation is entitled Making Connections. My goal is to make connections in a number of ways in Chinese, but one with the connection between Chinese and English. So I'm assuming most people who venture to learn Chinese, they at least have some foundation in English. They're usually proficient in English, at least that's been my experience.
Yeah.
And so by doing that and showing how Chinese is similar a lot in the syntax, the sentence structure of Chinese, I think that's a good step. So I start with the Pinyin alphabet, though, as I was saying. Hope that didn't take too long.
Great. Nice.
It's doable. You can master this. And basically it comes down to simply taking a little time and making connections. Making connections where you look at a character and you say, radicals. Now that's one reason I like your dictionary so much, the writtenchinese.com WCC dictionary. I mean that here's one thing I like, you guys provide individual, but also by knowing that you've pretty much already gone over the 8 basic strokes, for example, the dot, the end, horizontal line, vertical line. You've already gone over just about all of these basic character strokes. And that way, when you're doing them again in a different character, they're transferable. Hope that helps.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
There's no magic trick we can perform that will allow everyone to understand each individual idiosyncrasy of Chinese, just like in English. I mean, we have idioms, and they come out of nowhere, and there's no logical way to understand them. So I think what we have to convey as teachers is this message that it comes in time. Like if you know well, say, one of my favorite idioms in Taiwan when I was living there was 入境随俗, which basically translates as when in Rome, do as the Romans do, because I feel like that's the way people should live life. And so basically knowing that one and unraveling it at certain times and learning more, I mean, it's so much better than trying to memorize 10 in a row and pray that you're going to use them in some contrived conversation. We just need to be real. We need to speak to our fellow man. We need to hit the streets. We need to tear down this wall between our cultures. And we'll learn that way step by step.
Brilliant. Actually, Mike, we've got a question from Daniel Liao, and he says that he's been teaching Chinese for a while now, and that he's found a lot of his students find it very hard to understand the different tones and the neutral tone. He says, it's easy for me to tell the difference because I'm Taiwanese, but I would like to hear how Mike's opinion and what your opinion and method is for teaching tones.
Well, I think that we have to understand one thing. I think we freak out a little bit too much about tones. We have this brilliant thing called context, where usually if I'm, say, having a conversation with my mom and I accidentally call her a horse, she's going to still understand what I meant. And I think it's very rare that you're in the middle of some desolate area yelling out a tone and hoping people get the right one. So first, I want to say context saves things. Two, I learn tones in the shower. I learn tones walking around by myself, talking to myself, because that's what you do. You practice listening to yourself and trying to hit that tone. Now, I couldn't tell you any specific names because I don't really, besides your dictionary and the written part of it, I don't really do a lot of apps, but I do know that there are sites that exist where you can listen to a tone and then click whether it's first, second, third, or fourth tone. And there are other sites where you can speak a tone and they tell you how your pitch is. Again, I do things the old-fashioned way. I live in a garage, I teach in a garage, I don't really have time for these types of apps and things like that. I probably couldn't figure most of them out. But that's my opinion on tones. Context will save you. Trust me, bro.